It is 8 o'clock in the morning. Rise and shine. How are ya? I'm first morning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. I know that the lighting is terrible in this room. My apologies. I've got my hotel cup of coffee. Hopefully, you've got your cup of coffee. Hopefully, we're all waking up and doing so on the right note. Rise and shine. We are getting together just as we do 7 days a week to chat about what's going on in the world of weather. It is a lovely start to the day. I've been looking at the tower cams there in Central Florida. I'm up here, of course, in Boston, so I'm not like stepping out the door. I could tell you here in Boston, it's very, very nice. But let's chat about the top two things we are monitoring in our Central Florida forecast. Of course, we're timing out the storms, even if the rain coverage is getting a little lower. We'll look at that. Plus, yes, the heat is building. We are going to zero in on all of those impacts coming up. But first, let's look outside, see what's doing. There's a shot. Camping World Stadium looks gorgeous. It's just as nice here in New England. Had an interesting thing happen yesterday. Watched tornado coverage, New England style. There was some nasty weather coming in. And yeah, got to watch some tornado coverage. So anyway, glad didn't hear of any injuries up this direction. Jessica, good morning to you. Carolyn, good morning. Taylor, how's it going? Jessica's asking, did your shakes get delivered? They did. All thanks to you guys. Yeah, they were waiting for me at the hotel last night, so thank you very, very much. I do appreciate it. It's a beautiful start to the day in Central Florida. Of course, we've got our tower cams cycling through at the bottom of the screen. Current temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s. I will say it's at least a little more comfortable this morning up here. We're in the mid 70s. And it's funny, everybody, I was at our sister station, WCVB in Boston yesterday. And everybody was joking that I took the heat and humidity up from Florida because this is, they've only hit 90 like once or twice this year, and it's like every day this week we're going to be up to 90 degrees here. We are watching a little bit of rain developing out over the Gulf and kind of coming on in. They're around Rutland, Wildwood, Floral City, Denellen, Lake Weir, Weirsdale, watching a little bit of rain up your area. So we are carrying a little bit of shower coverage this morning. It's 10%. It's not too bad. Through the afternoon, we'll build up to about a 50% coverage of showers and storms. But look at that high temperature. It's, again, going to be a very, very warm one. Carolyn says, I want to see a tower cam from Boston. About the best I could do is stick my laptop out the window, but it's blue sky. That's what it is. Frankie, good morning to you. Jamie, good morning. How are you? Thank you, Philip. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for joining. Hope you're having a great morning. David, good morning to you. Rubbing in my don't you know, mid-70s, that sounds glorious. I know. Well, they were in the 60s for morning lows just before I got here. So, like, I missed that whole thing. Anne-Marie, how long am I staying here? Coming back Friday. I'll be on the, I believe, I have because this is a work week, so it's not like I'm on vacation. So, I believe I'm off Saturday and back on the air Sunday. And then I'm off next week for actual vacation, which I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Have to figure that out. But yeah, so I back Friday, but I do get to enjoy at least a couple of days. And you know, got a chance to visit WCVB yesterday. That was just wonderful. Matt, good morning to you. Arnett says, nice photos of you in the Boston group. Yeah, it's funny. I walk in the door and I got to meet Ed Harding, who main anchor up here. He's so good on TV, and it was just like, Ed, I'm gonna have to take a picture with you. Okay, you know. And it's funny. I told him, I said, Ed, you've tossed to me a few times, and he just looks at me and he's like, I've tossed to a lot of people. You know, he's a very funny guy. So anyway, Thomas, good morning to you. Courtney, thank you very much. Thank you. Maria, you're not moving to Boston. I am not moving to Boston. This is a Florida kid here. Okay, I'm here representing the Deuce. Yeah, I'm not moving to Boston. Not vacation, it's a work trip. Oh, next week? Don't worry, we'll have coffee talk or some updates, you know. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so the heat is building. That we know. Are you going to the weather for Boston's new state? No, I'm not. I'm staying in Central Florida. I am staying in Central Florida. All right, let's talk heat today, shall we? Mid-90s. Even at the beaches, it's going to be hot. Melbourne. Good morning. 91 today. That's not horrible. 93 degrees this afternoon, though, in Daytona Beach. 94 in Sanford. It's 95 degrees in Orlando. 94 degrees in St. Cloud. 92 degrees in Winter Haven. So it's going to be a hot one. But let's look in on Futurecast and just see what's doing. Through lunchtime, we're going to keep those showers, even thunder showers, kind of out in our western areas. They're going to try to wander in little by little by little. You can kind of see through 2, 3, 4 o'clock, we'll have scattered showers around and then kind of bubble stuff up over our eastern communities. But overall, the rain coverage is ticking down just a little bit today. Where that plays in is looking into our heat index. We are back to triple-digit feels-like temperatures. 2 p.m., 103, for example, in Orlando. And frankly, it could even end up higher than that, depending on what, this is kind of our forecast. But some of the models are even going 105, 106 today. So this is that extreme caution, dangerous kind of heat. We need to take it easy out there, people, even for our Central Florida standards. Did I talk to Harvey Leonard? He's already retired. Yeah, I didn't. He left at the end of May, so they're already into new staffing and new schedules, and so no, I didn't. Carolyn, good impression of Ed. Ed may be one of the greatest anchors I have ever watched, just like Harvey, one of the greatest meteorologists I've ever watched on TV. Just period, end of story. Sweating to the oldies, that's right. Maria says, thank goodness you're not moving. We can't do this without you. You're the best we have. Thank you very much, Maria. I appreciate it. No, I'm here. I get to start getting back some of the money from the feds. Oh, look at you, Brian. Look at you. Congratulations. I love that. Very good. Very good stuff. Just take it easy, okay? Heading out to do some airplane stuff before it gets too hot. Oh, I want to go do airplane stuff. Today I'm excited, though, because I get to do nerd stuff all day today. I'm up here for a work conference learning about the graphics system that you see there. I'm at the vendor. So training is always a good thing, and I'm grateful for a company that invests in me. I do need to schedule an Uber, I guess, at some point to get over there. I think it's like a mile or so away. I'll figure that out. After coffee talk. At any rate, so while I'm up here playing with nerd stuff, maybe you're heading to the attractions today. Epcot opens in just about 22 or so minutes. Showers and thunder showers around, but it's not going to be a terrible coverage. I would just say that the heat today is going to be more of a concern than the kind of overall rain chance. The rain coverage doesn't seem to be too chaotic today, all right? So that's kind of where we're at. If you're wanting to go out and play a little golf, not a bad day to do so either. I would just probably suggest to do so in the morning. Those afternoon rounds are just brutal, just brutal. All right, let's talk about rain chances these next couple of days. So today we're sitting at about a 50% coverage. By late week, though, high pressure is going to start to build in over top of us, and what that's going to do is that's going to help to crank up the heat. So look at these temperatures over the next couple of days, okay? From today's 95, look where we go. 97 and 97, okay? So temperatures are absolutely the big focal point in our forecasting, okay? Big stuff. That means it feels like temperatures are going to be getting, even hotter. So we've got to be careful, Seriously, we've got to be careful. John says, I'm impressed how you've kept the weight off, seeing a great example for healthy lifestyle. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, John. It's going to be a lifelong commitment. Yesterday was travel day. It was not an easy day to get food in. So I've kind of felt like, I've had a headache, just because I didn't eat enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. Taylor, you're going to Uber a mile away. They gave an Uber credit, and it's like turns and turns, and I don't know. They told us to Uber, okay? The vendor provided it. I don't know. It's not really just a mile. I think it's a few miles away. But my point is, it's not that far. Jessica. What sessions am I? So today, let me look. So today, this is such nerd stuff. Are you sure you care? All right. So for today, it starts off. This is how nerdy it is. It starts off 8:30 to 9 is breakfast. So I'll finish coffee talk, get the Uber, and I'll be there, halfway through breakfast. 9 to 9:30, the future of broadcast weather. The future of broadcast weather. From a vendor's perspective, I do think it will be interesting just to see what they think. And while we're talking about this, I'll pop up the 7-day forecast. What they think the future of weather is, because they're the ones that write that software. So it'll be interesting to see what's coming down the pike. Then from 9:30 to 10:15, there are breakout sessions by appointment. I signed up for some external data flow in, again, like I said, nerd stuff. And then from 10:30 to 11:15 is another breakout session. And I signed up for using the event engine to automatically surface content for Max Engage Publishing. Nerd stuff. From 11:30 to 12:15, Max Tips and Tricks. This is called TrueView Max, is the name of the application. Lunch from 12:15 to 1. Max Tips and Tricks continued from 1:15 to 2. And then from 2:15 to 3, more breakout. That's one that I'm very interested in, which is Max Storm and Radar Moments for advanced users. Essentially, it's the live radar, but what little data tweaks can you do? I'm not going to pretend that I know everything that there is to know. That's why I'm here. So I'm really excited to see what little manipulations that maybe I can do. And then from 3:15 to 4, automatically surfacing impact tags and displaying them in Max Storm. And I saw that in practice last night with the Boston sister station stuff. Presenting their Max Alert Live from 4:15 to 5, which we will not be buying at Wesh because we made our own crawl system. Closing remarks 5 to 5:15, and then dinner at 6. So there you go. That's today. Not that you care. Debbie, wow, you're not lucky enough to be in the same hotel as the conference. You'll have to explore the Boston area. I'm not going to have time to explore. And they're actually not doing the conference at a hotel. They're doing it at their corporate headquarters. So not that far away. Yeah. Mickey, hey Eric, I figured out how to keep the Doppler radar in Wesh 2 app. If you choose the Doppler radar and then save a location, it will be loaded once you open the app and hit the radar button. Mickey, is that so? Did you just blow everybody's minds in here? I'll take it. Very cool, thank you. All right, so did you hear Mickey? Mickey says, I figured out how to keep the Doppler radar, our live radar, on the Wesh 2 app. If you choose the Doppler radar and then save a location, it will be loaded once you open the app and hit the radar button. There you go. I love that. Jenny, what's the temperature in Ocala today? Stand by. Today's high temperature in Ocala, 91. But you've got those kind of morning showers that are helping. Mickey says, just thought I would share with you since some peeps were chatting about. Absolutely. And another thing that I'm going to ask is, while I'm here at the vendor, I'm going to ask if there's a way that we can get our Wesh 2 radar's velocity on the app. They may say absolutely not, hit the road, Jack. But why not? I'm here. These are the people that are making the coding, because it's not only our vendor that does our graphics on the air, it's also the vendor that supplies the API and the data for our interactive radar on Wesh.com. Yeah. Can you send Santa a lobster roll? Listen, as soon as I was sitting on the ground at Logan Airport yesterday and I pulled out my phone, I was on Facebook, and Facebook's ads were all just blitzing me about the lobster rolls and the museums around Boston. I'm like, man, I'm not going to get any of these things because I'm working, Oh, well. At least you're keeping up with the conference info. Well, and it's, because I build graphics for more than just Wesh. I do graphics for, 26 TV stations. So it's not just how can we use things at Wesh, but it's also like, oh, I bet our main station could use this. Or, oh, Oklahoma City, Kansas City. There are many stations in the group. I'll have to try that, Carol says. Very cool. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And don't you come back no more. There you go. Always ask the question. The worst answer you get is no. Oh, Nikki, listen. I am 100% of that mindset. I'm also 100% of the mindset of it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Coffee Talk was that. I started doing Coffee Talk without asking anybody, and I was doing it in a t-shirt looking like a schlub. Better to ask for forgiveness and permission. Here we are years and years and years later, and we have expanded Coffee Talk out to 7 days a week. We have an afternoon update, which I don't know that I can do this week because I think I'm in a session. But, we'll do what we can. Isn't Boston the setting for cheers? It is, yes. Buenos dias, Yadira. Good morning. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo está? All right, let's talk tropics. I love it. Can't say that this is a surprise, but we are in a quiet phase of hurricane season. Of course, no development expected over the next 5 days' time. Before we look at just the raw global models, I do want to look at the Madden-Julian Oscillation Tracker. Now, we show this just to look at where activity is expected, but let's switch over to, that's the wrong view. Oceanic Basin. There we go. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. All right. So this is the Madden-Julian Oscillation. Basically, this is where we're looking for, amplifications of hurricane season and the like. Lots of brown around. That lets you know that, we're actually pretty quiet. Now, this is July 22nd, you can see the greens showing up in the Caribbean, so there is going to be a little opportunity for some spin out that way. But start to look around the coast of Africa. You see as we push toward the end of July here, it's starting to turn green. That's kind of letting you know that the dynamics are going to be there to start seeing some sort of spin, some sort of tropical development, some monsoonal flow, that sort of thing, looking at kind of late July into early August. So don't be surprised if we start to see a little bit of activity in that time frame. Now, that said, let's look and see what's doing on the computer forecast models in respect to actual development. Switch this back over to the Atlantic Basin view. Okay, let's take a look, shall we? This is the same GFS, but now we're looking at mean sea level pressure, normalized anomaly. So what we're looking for is areas of high pressure, areas of low pressure. Highs are the warm shades, cool, the blues and greens and purples. Those are low pressure areas. Coming off the coast of Africa, a couple little things. Doesn't look like they're wanting to get too feisty, but they're there. Tracking them. Bottom left corner of your screen, right where it says Tuesday, you see that 1001 low. A little something in the Pacific Basin, but we're not really looking at anything trying to get too organized in the Atlantic. A couple little goobers out in the open Atlantic, Wednesday, July 26th, so next week, but nothing. You see how the Pacific yields yet another system there, right where it says Palm Coast in the bottom left corner, and in the Atlantic there are a couple dots, There are a couple little dots there in the Atlantic Basin, but nothing that looks to be terribly organized. Rolling through, still looking good, still looking good. Now, I will point out that the Canadian model has a flavor of itself that will go out like a month. Now, you treat it as such, right? Treat it as it's going out a month. But it is hinting, looking ahead to August, that we're going to start to see some development, and it kind of goes right in line with our LRC forecast spots. Now again, it's a month out, so bear with it, right? But if you look at the LRC calendar, it was showing something around the 10th and the 11th around Texas. All right, and then maybe something around the 8th, 9th around Florida. That would be the recycle of potential tropical cyclone 1/Alex. So it was kind of trying to sniff those things out. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But at the end of the day, the tropics are remaining nice and quiet for now. So let's enjoy that while we can, because we know the peak of hurricane season is right around the corner. Anything on the BSR? Mickey, nothing, not really yet. The BSR, again, it goes about 2.5 weeks out. So we're not quite there yet. But I looked at it last night. I'll look at it again this afternoon just to kind of see where we're going with it. But yeah, nothing too crazy for now. Let's see here. Any questions? What do you mean recycle? What do you mean? So Stephanie, the idea of recycling. So we follow this principle in meteorology. It's a kind of a theory that's being beat up and peer reviewed. It's a peer reviewed theory called the cycling weather pattern, or more commonly referred to as the LRC, the Lezak recurring cycle. And the idea is that in October and November, you get these weather patterns that establish themselves, and then they recycle over and over and over and over until the next October and November. Every year is a different duration of cycle. So for me, someone who studies this, my key is not only to see what weather features are in that pattern, but also how long does this pattern take to recycle over and over and over again. Makes sense, right? So that all said, this year's cycle is like 64-ish days. So every 64 days or so, you're going to see kind of the same weather system over and over and over and over, right? There's going to be changes and things like that, but you're going to see the same main features playing out, Stephanie, over and over again. All right? So what that does is that gives us a chance to kind of give ideas on where tropical systems would go. Like, so for example, these are my hotspots for this year. There's 2 areas of interest, which include New England, by the way. But the main hotspots, Florida and the Mid-Atlantic. And then there's 2 other areas of interest, we'll call it, which is Texas, Louisiana, and then up into New England. So it gives us the chance to focus in on like time frames. So for example, like this is a time frame to watch, like the Florida East Coast, right? Late August, East Coast of Florida. So there's the ability to do certain things. And when you look back through time, it has proven to be just wildly accurate. There's a look at the forecast for last year compared to all the storms. I mean, just look at the Gulf Coast, for example. Fred, Mindy, and Elsa hit exactly where and when. Claudette and Ida hit exactly where and when. Nicholas, it was shifted by, I think, 30 miles from where we had forecast it to be 10 months before. And it goes all the way back. We could go back and look at like 2020, for example. That's a really, really good one as an example. I know it's there. Like these were our hot spots in 2020. There were the landfall points. They all basically hit right where we said that they would. So it's kind of this wild thing that we do. We put out a hurricane forecast on March 1st every year. And yeah, there's that. So it's kind of wild how it plays out. But we track it. It gives us an idea, if nothing else, right? Is Jeannie driving the Tesla while you're gone? You may not get it back. She's not. I don't know that she's comfortable enough in it yet. Yeah. All right. So there's our 7-day forecast. Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything? It's going to be a beautiful day in Central Florida, but good gravy, is it going to be hot? It's not going to be much cooler up here in Boston. It really is not. Yeah. Am I tracking the Tesla? It hasn't moved. It's still plugged in. Yeah. So, all right, people. I don't know that I'll get a chance to do an afternoon coffee talk. I can't promise. I'll try. But maybe it's a little later. Maybe it's a little earlier. We'll figure it out. If I can, I will. That I can promise you, okay? But in the meantime, be good. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you guys and gals later on. And if I can do an afternoon, giddy up. If I can't, giddy up. I'll talk to y'all later.